Mr. Liu, China is no solution to Africa. China is one of the worst things that Africa will experience in the years ahead. I'm going to give you at least 4 facts. First and foremost, China has an overgrown population that they do not have where to accommodate that population. Africa has virgin land. Africa has arable land for agriculture as well as space to accommodate people. China is envisaging Africa as a place that they will be able to accommodate their overflowing population, since Chinese can easily live in Africa comfortably. And that is China's projection. That's why you see their own approach to Africa is not colonialism. Colonialism actually is coming to Africa to sign treaties, negotiate, and put leaders in question, set up systems, then go back to their country where they control from there. China is not doing colonialism. China is doing buying over. Buying over is an advanced dimension of colonialism, which the colonialist does not live in his place of origin to rule overseas. He comes to dwell where he wants to control. The Europeans did not come to stay in Africa. They came here, set up structures like La Francophonie, Commonwealth, AU, and other structures, put them in place, and then put puppet leaders, while from Europe and America, their treaties and their agreements are controlling Africa. China is not doing that. As a matter of fact, China trades as a nation. China does not trade as individuals. The man who is selling shoe at Dutch there in Douala is selling under the Chinese government. He's not selling as an individual. But the French man that is selling somewhere around Tico, Douala, is selling his business. Now, China does not go into the market, number one, to sell products. China go to win the market. Win the market means they will gain 5 francs for each product and attract everybody towards their direction. Something happened with Jack Ma recently. Jack Ma was sued in China and he paid a sum of $10 million because Jack Ma violated an international law that made him almost a sole trader in almost every app in China. He created more apps and put his product in all the apps. So if you leave TikTok and you are going to Changchun, you will still meet Jack Ma. You leave Changchun, you are going to Ziting, you will meet Jack Ma. So Chinese government caught that. But that's the same thing China is doing. China is putting itself in different apps that is the same product with different names. So China is in Africa not just to colonize. China is in Africa to buy over Africa. That's the first thing. Number 2, Chinese in Africa, number 2, are buying lands. Europeans did not buy lands. If you come to Cameroon, you will not see former French buildings. You will see former German buildings. And even the companies from France that are operating here, they operate on rented structures. So because the Frenchman is not interested to stay here, he's interested to extract and suck the community, then goes away. The Frenchman does not build infrastructure. The Frenchman comes to suck your resources and go away. China is not coming in that capacity. China is coming to create a space where you will discover that there can be a Chinese village in Africa. China has 20 police stations in South Africa to do what? To protect Chinese business. China has 4 generals in the Zambian army to protect what? The Chinese business. The mayor of Lusaka was once sanctioned by Edgar Lungu, who was the former president of Zambia, because a Chinese guy, a Zambian guy, entered into a Chinese restaurant with a Chinese lady to eat, and then the Chinese man chased the Zambian guy out of the restaurant. When the mayor of Lusaka spoke against the Chinese man, the president sanctioned and asked the mayor to apologize to a Chinese man in Zambia. That tells you the infiltration of China in Africa is not just coming as a colonialist. China is coming as a settler. So we cannot trust China. We can't. The next thing that China does is that China is not dealing with raw materials as Europeans do. China goes to the extent of doing the meager jobs that the common man in Africa does. That is to say, depriving even him that fries puff-puff, he that cultivates tomato, he that cultivates pineapple, and even him that also does fishing around the shores of Cameroon. China is depriving them. The next thing that China is doing, China is coming with genetically programmed seeds. I want to naked China here. I'm sure they are watching it. They are coming with genetically programmed seeds to put inside the kind of crops we grow here. Our plantains are no longer our plantains. Pineapple that come from Hawaii, the skin is bright. You open it, it is white inside. It's not. Why? It's genetically programmed seeds. When you eat those seeds, you start reacting, behaving, and acting like the way those seeds want you to be programmed, which is very dangerous. Now, China's approach to Africa also is to establish Chinese dominion by incurring debts. China is an advanced colonial because why? China is coming with a debt strategy. Once you are indebted to somebody, you are a slave to that person. China sold the port of Djibouti and established a military base there. Chinese come to sign contract in Africa in Mandarin, not English. So most of the contracts China signs in Africa, our authorities don't read them because most of them don't understand Mandarin. How do you explain that China want to construct a port in Dar es Salaam and they will run the port for 99 years before handing it to the Tanzanian government? Now, this person who was the president, Jakaya Risha Kikwete, read those things and then signed it. Unfortunately, the thing was not completed before Magufuli came to power. Magufuli had to call somebody who understood Mandarin to read it. When he read it, he said, only fools can sign such contracts. He annulled the contract. How can a Cameroonian who understands English and French fly to China to sign a contract in Mandarin? It tells you the kind of way we reason. Okay. I'm asking, in the 21st century, Mr. Liu, if our authorities who are learned can still be acting this way, there's something is wrong.
Yeah, but Apostle Ambe seems to be too hard on China. Mambo, don't you think that China may have also helped Africa better than what we experienced with the West?
Mr. Liu, the West, just like China, has never and will never help Africa.